Over the past few years, Death Stranding has been the subject of much hype, and for a good reason. It was Kojima's first game after his split with Konami. While the title boasted amazing graphics, it also had its bizarre elements, typical to any Kojima game, and, of course, it had a very distinct air of originality about it. But, in November 2019, when the game was finally released, it had stirred up quite a storm. Many people have joked about it, calling it a glorified walking simulator, and users were quick to review bomb it on Metacritic. To this day, Death Stranding is a game that elicits strong and polarizing reactions from players. It has the ability to captivate and resonate deeply with some, while others may find it unappealing. The reasons behind these contrasting opinions are valid and understandable. Personally, I thoroughly enjoy the game Death Stranding. However, I can emphasize with those who have a different perspective and understand why it may not resonate with them as much. Many individuals who grew up playing fast-paced games like Call of Duty will most likely find Death Stranding's slower-paced approach less appealing. Today, almost 4 years after its release, I'm going to take you through an updated review of the game, and by the end, you'll see whether Death Stranding is still worth playing in 2023. So let's get started. Like I've said in the intro, this game has a different pace than what most gamers might be used to. You can compare playing Death Stranding to listening to piano music. It offers you a relaxing and soothing experience that requires a slower pace in order to fully immerse yourself in it. Just like piano music unfolds its beauty when listened to carefully, Death Stranding reveals its unique charm when approached with patience and a willingness to embrace its deliberate pace. Even nowadays, when I revisit this game, I sometimes find it hard to properly articulate the essence of Death Stranding. I guess the easiest way to label this game is as an open-world action-adventure delivery simulator. It's hard to summarize or explain the story of the game in just a minute or so, but I'll try. It's important to note straight off the bat that the overarching themes that are apparent from the very beginning of the game are isolation, loneliness, connection, and solidarity. The story of the game follows the state of human civilization in a world where Earth itself has become a very hostile place. The phenomenon known as the Death Stranding has led to the worlds of the living and the dead overlapping, and the result are the supernatural phenomena that we see throughout the game: timefall, rain which accelerates the passage of time, and BTs, breached things, entities whose souls are stranded in the world of the living. On top of all that, you also have specters and otherworldly creatures from the world of the dead, and they can cause devastating explosions known as voidouts by consuming living humans. In this post-Death Stranding world, Sam Porter Bridges, portrayed by Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, has a very important mission of reconnecting all the scattered cities and settlements onto one network called the Chiral Network. Basically, this chiral network is a new version of the internet, and it is powered by Corellium, a crystal that has appeared on Earth as a result of the Death Stranding. You can think of Reedus' character as this post-apocalyptic Amazon delivery guy who is tasked with uniting all the remaining dwellings so that they can stand against all the otherworldly creatures that pose a real threat to humanity. But jokes aside, I find the story to be unique and thought-provoking. The narrative is filled with intriguing twists and turns, and it is designed to keep players engaged from start to finish. While opinions differ with many players, when it comes to the story, I find it to be captivating and emotionally impactful. From a graphics point of view, the Decima engine, developed by Guerrilla Games, allows Death Stranding to deliver breathtaking and highly realistic visuals even in 2023. One of the best features of the game is its capability of rendering vast open worlds seamlessly, which is great especially for a title like Death Stranding. This type of rendering allows for smooth exploration without it being disrupted by loading screens, so you can fully immerse yourself in the game's expansive environment. The Decima engine also provides us with dynamic weather and lighting, which further improves the gaming experience. But while the engine is highly regarded for its visual fidelity and technical capabilities, it's important to point out that no engine is without its limitations. Even in Death Stranding, there are certain areas where there's room for improvement, specifically when it comes to collision detection and world physics. Also, sometimes character movements can come across as slightly juddery. While there is a layer of immersion with the realistic management of weight during downhill treks, there are also instances where the game's physics disrupt this sense of realism. Yes, players have been warned that this particular title was not meant for vehicles, but sometimes when you're in a mission that requires you to retrace the entire map, you need a set of wheels. And this is where a lot of players' complaints come from. One person complained that trucks in games sometimes completely ignore the right trigger and do not accelerate at all. Or sometimes, for no apparent reason, they start accelerating without you even touching the controller. Other players have complained about driving off-road in a non-rocky area with the bike and deemed it frustrating when the vehicle seems to be crashing against anything and everything. The game heavily emphasizes exploration and navigation through treacherous terrain, including mountains, rivers, and rocky landscapes. For each travel, you must carefully plan your route, taking into account factors such as weight distribution, weather conditions, and potential hazards. Balancing and adjusting the load on Sam's back is crucial to maintain stability and prevent falling. You also have various tools and equipment that you can use, such as ladders, climbing anchors, and ropes to overcome obstacles and reach your destination. Additionally, you can use vehicles like motorcycles and trucks, but these vehicles require careful handling due to the challenging terrain. In a game like Death Stranding, despite the constant threats that you might encounter, the combat mechanics are quite minimal. The focus here is on evasion and stealth rather than direct confrontation. However, if stealth is not really your style, you do have the option to go guns blazing. Personally, I'm not the best when it comes to combat, but I am absolutely amazed by the incredible realism and fluidity of movement in the game. It's important to keep in mind while playing this game that it has a system which directly rewards you for being prepared, so if you enter a fight without a plan, it will be very easy to become overwhelmed. But if you have the opportunity to strategize and equip yourself with gadgets, you'll find it's easier to get through fights. In fact, the game actually encourages you to use all your gadgets during combat. This adds a thrilling and satisfying element to the fights. While the game has been designed to be single player, there is a certain multiplayer element to it. No, you cannot meet other players in the game, but you can sometimes come across their equipment, cargo, tools, and even structures. The game's intentional high level of challenge really highlights the true difficulty of accomplishing tasks on your own. This, in turn, makes you appreciate this multiplayer element. A bridge becomes more valuable when you realize how arduous crossing the river would be without it, and bypassing enemies becomes significant when you can't simply sprint through effortlessly. This design choice fosters a sense of community, reinforcing the game's theme. However, while this system preserves the game's unique atmosphere, some players may miss the more traditional direct interaction found in other multiplayer games.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off!
Also, you may find cluttered objects left behind, and for me, this takes some of the immersion away. Personally, I love to replay Death Stranding, even after so many years. There is an emotional connection that you can't help but develop for some of the characters, but also, the game gives you a different experience each time you play it, due to the fact that the items left behind by other players could be in different places compared to your previous playthroughs. I also just love traversing the landscape and taking in the views. And, of course, there's the soundtrack. The music from Low Roars, along with other artists like Silent Poets, perfectly complements the game's atmosphere. It adds such depth and beauty that the game would feel entirely transformed without it. The combination of stunning music and captivating gameplay creates an unforgettable experience. The music not only enhances the awe-inspiring landscapes, but also seamlessly transitions into haunting melodies when confronting certain enemies in the game. This dynamic shift in the music adds an extra layer of intensity and suspense, heightening the overall gaming experience. It's a testament to how music can evoke different emotions and enhance the immersion within the game's world. Have you played Death Stranding when the game was released? What do you think? Does it have replay value? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. And if you enjoy game reviews and want to see more, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified each time I post new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.